You're someone who does well in school, but then your exam results don't reflect this. So you're doing well in homework, in your predicted grades, but then your actual exam results, you're seeing scores that are like 20, 30 marks lower, and you're just wondering what is going on. I want to talk you through the four categories of students and the problems that they're facing so that you can diagnose yourself, because that is half the solution. From my experience, it's always one of these. You can let me know which one you think you are. The first type of student who usually has a big gap between in school and then exams are those of you who haven't trained yourself to know how to answer a question. So what I mean by that is you get into the exam, you look at the question, you definitely recognize all the words in there. You know what it's asking you technically, but you just don't know how to start. So you get stuck on the first hurdle of like, okay, how do I set up the question if it's maths? Or if it's an essay subject, you're just wondering, what's the first sentence? You get stuck on that, and then that repeats throughout the exam. You have a little panic and you don't do so well. Second type of student is somebody, again, you know your stuff, but you get into the exam, you're looking at the question and you're just like kind of half sure. So what you end up doing is you half answer the question and then you're like, okay, I'm going to come back to that. You do that for question 2, 3, 4. You get halfway through, you realize you've got so many questions you've got to come back to. You get to the end of the exam, you run out of time, you can't go and redo every question, because half doing each question and going back to it is almost the same as doing the exam twice in terms of how much time it takes. It's not half the time at all, because you've got to redo the question, re-understand it, restructure, get yourself back on track to what you were doing. So it just doesn't work. Third type of student, you know a lot, and when you see a question, you just use it as an opportunity to basically ramble about every single thing you know about the topic. You're not really looking at the question so much as being like, I know all of this information, take it, and then you, the examiner, find which marks to give me. This doesn't work because you could have just written 3 sentences with 3 keywords in it and you would have got all the marks. But when you do this ramble, it's really difficult sometimes to pinpoint what point you're making, and often you'll just lose all the marks because you've said something contradicting, or you just haven't covered those 3 key points. And then the fourth type of student, these are the students who have almost over-prepped to the point where you've kind of memorized some of the questions. And so what ends up happening is that you get to the exam, you look at the question, and you assume it's like the same one that you've prepped. So then you start writing your like prepared template answer or whatever it is. And then it's a slightly different question. It's slightly off. So you actually haven't answered the question at all. And then you lose a lot of marks in one go. And this massively brings down your score. So usually it's one of these 4 things. If you can figure out what you are doing wrong, then just you can prep yourself so that this doesn't happen to you. You don't wake up on exam results day and suddenly the A star you were predicted is a C and you've missed your offer.